I'm not the biggest Sonic fan out there, but hey, being a gamer who grew up in the 90s, I'd think you'd be a little bit weird to have never played a Sonic game before. Sonic has always been the snarky speedster that captured the hearts of children and soon-to-be furries everywhere since his very first game. His series spans so many generations, not only through video games but also through TV shows and comic books, all of which can be a little bit questionable with their quality from time to time. But the one thing that is always a fact is that Sonic has been a major mascot for Sega as well as gaming as a whole. Fast forward to more recently, and the crazy thing is that the blue blur who started off as a gaming icon now has movies being made about him. So that only means one thing, and that is that anything and everything can go horribly wrong.
Meow?
Stop! No! Just stop it!
Luckily though, after the first movie, which funny enough was a lot of people's last theater movie before going into lockdown for almost a year, but hey, if that was the last theater movie that you saw in 2020, I guess it wasn't that bad. Like sure, it wasn't some Oscar-winning masterpiece that deserved praise from every critic imaginable, but for what it was, it did what most video game movies always forget to do. You just gotta stay true to the source material and appeal to the fans as much as you can. Now I've talked enough about how live action adaptations of anime, cartoons, and especially video games can go horribly wrong. And to this day, they haven't proven me totally wrong. Again, I can go on forever talking about movies like Dragon Ball Evolution or the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I don't have time for that. All of that aside though, today I'm here to talk a bit about the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie and why I think it's going in the perfect direction. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and do some deep dive into the Sonic lore and the comics and all that crap, but I am going to talk about it as a guy who loves not only video games but movies as well. The overall consensus that I see a lot for the first movie is that it did its job. Yeah, you can say it's mid, you can say it's cringe, or that the jokes weren't hitting its marks, but at the very least, they did Sonic right. You watch that movie and you know for a fact what you're watching is at least somewhat believable as Sonic in some alternate storyline with some slightly different characters and situations. The best part of the movie was the main character himself, of course, which makes me feel weird when I remember how he looked in the very first trailer. Sonic is defined by his personality, and as long as you get that right, make a decent little plot, add in references that the old fans will get a kick out of, and put it all together with some believable visual effects, and boom, you got a pretty good Sonic movie. So with all that in mind, it's no wonder why the second movie goes even further to enhance all those areas and digs even deeper into the Sonic universe. Rather than pushing way too hard for Sonic and Donut Lord to be father and anthropomorphic hedgehog son. By simply adding in more characters like Tails and Knuckles, this movie felt like it was so much better made for the fans. Like sure, I get it. Even if the first movie only had Sonic, it would have at least been a hit with the kids because, well, what kid doesn't like Sonic? With them waiting until this movie to finally bring in some more of the main characters, it really makes me hopeful that things could get even more in line with what the comics and the games are like. And looking back, it just feels kind of good that they started off playing it kind of safe. Having Sonic come to the real world and not make the plot way too weird and complex for the first movie. That way, even the new fans who have never touched a piece of Sonic media aren't thrown into the lion's den not even knowing what the hell is going on or who these characters are. But honestly, that's the most exciting part about what the next movies could possibly be. The possibility of the creators of these movies opening the floodgates bit by bit until one year we get a Sonic movie that embraces more of the full roster of Sonic characters and all they have to offer. The only issue I see is that it might distract from the human plot lines a bit, but after seeing what they did with those human plot lines in the second movie, I'm not too mad about that. So let's talk about that for a sec though, because I did go into this movie after hearing that the humans would have less of a role, and that's kinda true. Like, the plot does focus more on the connection between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles more than any of the humans, but one of the main plot lines in this movie just felt so empty to me. Not to go too far into detail, but the wedding scene was probably one of the worst parts of the film, and it seemed to drag a bit too long. And hey, I'm all for the black representation in this movie though, because I didn't expect to go into this seeing almost as much black as I did blue, if you know what I mean. And before you ask, yes, I am including Knuckles in the black group too, because he's obviously invited to the cookout.
Do I look like I need your power, nigga?
But the wedding really just served as a way to introduce some important plot that we won't see until the next movie, which is fine and all. It's like their way of building up the story and preparing for a larger universe going forward, so I can't be too mad about it, besides the parts where Rachel goes off on everyone at the wedding, which to me felt a little bit lame, but to others might have been funny, I guess. I mean, hey, angry large black woman equals funny in Hollywood, so I'm not too surprised by that.
I don't weigh no damn 300 pounds. I weigh 165. How you doing?
I don't know, I'm just gonna say that's not my favorite part of the movie, and I'm gonna move on. Now, thankfully, Jim Carrey continued to carry as Eggman in the sequel, and what I loved is how from time to time, they would put him closer to being the Eggman that we all know while also making him different. Some people were upset that they didn't go the extra mile to make Jim Carrey wear a fat suit to be more egg-shaped, but I think that having egg-shaped robots instead is good enough without making things look too silly. Plus, there were enough references and Easter eggs thrown into the mix to make up for that anyways. But what kind of sucks to hear is that Jim Carrey is actually thinking about stepping away from acting in general, because I think that he was one of the major reasons that we even got a second movie in the first place. A lot of people seem to go see the first movie with the mindset of, even if it's a mid movie, at least Jim Carrey will be good in it. So seeing him possibly branch off and not come back for any sequels would suck. But I'm excited to see them take more risks since these movies have a decent footing so far. But hey, who knows if we'll see any more human villains at all, seeing how there don't seem to be that many from what I researched. Again, it's not a bad thing if we don't though, since I'm rooting for them to dig deeper into the animal characters that everyone knows and loves. Now the question is, will they do those characters justice? Will they continue to have every character get transported to Earth one way or another? Whatever it is that they do, I'm pretty positive that as long as they keep the fans in mind, the Sonic cinematic universe will do just fine. Or again, at worst, it will be more mediocre kid movies, but I have a bit of hope that it will be better than that going forward. Especially after seeing those box office sales, because damn, you would be a fool to let this ship sink and not take care of it the right way. That's all I have for you guys today, so subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I will see you guys next time.